Hey, all right. It's the Dead Man Stone Podcast, a show broadcast live deep in the heart of a trailer park in Meth County, Texas. I'm your host, Mr. Deadman. With me is S.K. Barrett, a life coach that can unfuck your life if you'll let him. And, of course, we got the lovely Tammy G. How's it going, Tammy G?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Doing all right?
Just skip right over me. That's fine.
You noticed that?
Well, I'm prettier.
I ain't arguing that.
Well, I read your book, finally, and it said, if just skip to the pretty one. That's part of the advice, right? Just skip to the pretty one.
Chapter 37.
Yeah. Also with us tonight is J2. How's it going, J2?
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, no problem.
Hey.
No problem. So tonight we're going to get pretty deep in the Hat Man, which is good because from what I understand about the Hat Man is that this mysterious shadow figure, I just said that in a weird way, shadow, like I don't know how to say it, shadow figure-like thing appears at your weakest moments, right? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that would be the correct assumption.
Well, let me tell you something. Tonight, I'm achieving my weakest moment because I know you guys been trying to stop me from my spice, from my pumpkin spice. You guys been trying to get me to quit, and I'm tired of it. I'm embracing it full on. Look, I got this pumpkin pie spice right here, literally spice. I got this extract right here, which I'll be taking shots of extract tonight. I'll be snorting this pumpkin spice. I got these little Debbie cakes right here, pumpkin spice rolls. Man, what am I gonna do with that? I don't know, but man, I'm achieving it. I want it all.
You notice the only pumpkin spice thing he doesn't have is actual pumpkin pie.
That's the best thing of all pumpkin. Is pumpkin pie.
That's what pumpkin spice is
and
for.
Pumpkin bread.
Well, I would have
Or
the pumpkin pie, but I already ate it. That's the problem. I bought it earlier for the show.
Wanker.
I couldn't resist. I'd eat the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, I bought like 4 of these things. This is my last box.
You can just say no.
I can't say no anymore. In fact, you know what? Let me show you how much I can't say no. You see this extract? See it? Oh, man. Ooh. Ooh.
How did that taste? That's
Great.
not like a pumpkin spice from Starbucks.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh.
Ew, your face too. I can tell you love that.
I did. Kind of has a burn to it. Mm-hmm.
Why are your cheeks so
How much
red?
alcohol is in that?
I don't know. I'll tell you what I'm doing now. Oh, anyway,
I
let's
see
get
some
started.
hanging off your mustache there. You might want to lick that up.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
No, that's from lunch.
That's leftover pumpkin pie.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I'm going to throw this out there. If you want to see me take a bump of this. All right.
I think I'm going to send in $10 right now because I want to see that shit.
Okay. Well, the link is right there on the screen. Streamlabs.com/Mr. DeadmanDT. I want to see me take a bump. You know what to do. You want me to take another shot. You know what to do. Weakest moment, man. I'm achieving a full basic bitch mode. I don't give a fuck anymore. You guys are haters trying to get me to stop. I'm embracing this.
Wow, you're so angry.
I am
Where's
angry.
your crop top, man?
Calm down, dude.
It might come later. I don't know. We'll see what
How
happens.
much for a little underboob?
Well, I don't know. Whoever has the right price.
Because I mean, that's
Well, we don't know what
we
don't know what your price is yet.
Yeah, we want to see some titty.
Okay, $20. You pay 20 for mine.
Cheap ass bitch.
That's fucking easy. He is pretty fucking basic. He's like $20 for a tit shot.
Yeah,
This
20 bucks
is
for a tit shot.
about 40.
All right.
I don't know nothing
Let's
about that,
get
though.
serious. Let's get serious.
Okay.
Don't forget, Tammy. We get a cut of that. So
Right?
All right.
Oh, let's talk about the Hat Man.
The Hat Man.
All right,
No.
All right, so
Hat Man.
Man.
Never am.
so J2, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here, man. What's up?
Okay. Yeah, we get pretty rowdy.
Around.
We get pretty rowdy. All right. So tell us about the Hat Man. Like, what is he? What does he do?
All right.
Why does he do it?
So so the Hat Man would be a part of a, I guess you could say, a long line of what are shadow people. So to really talk about the Hat Man, you have to first kind of know what a shadow person is. Shadow people have been along in lore and mythology for hundreds of thousands of years. Most recently, at least the most notable mention of them in our modern news and different things like that would be, there was a radio show called Coast to Coast AM.
Yeah.
And they basically talked about a bunch of paranormal, kind of similar to what this podcast does. And in April 12th of 2002, they interviewed a Native American who first referenced shadow people. Now, they didn't reference the Hat Man specifically, but they referenced shadow people. They wanted people to submit drawings of shadow people they've seen, and one of the drawings was the Hat Man. Shadow people have also made notable stuff. Like I'm sure at least one of you three have seen Supernatural.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
My Winchester.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They've had shadow people on there. There was shadow people on a 1980-some episode of Twilight Zone. So shadow people have been talked about, not just within the last 10, 15 years or anything like that. So the Hat Man specifically is kind of what he sounds like. He's a shadow person. He has the figure of a male, generally in a long black trench coat type thing.
Yeah.
And a hat, and it's usually like either a bowler hat kind of hat, or it's a fedora kind of hat. So when you're talking about the Hat Man, there's a lot of speculation, and there's not a whole lot of agreement on what he is, what he does, things like that. So there's the one argument that he is a human kind of spirit, a human kind of energy that when died was basically kind of died, whether you believe in heaven, hell, that sort of thing, went to hell, was one of the most evil spirits around there, was put back on Earth to go around as the Hat Man. There is the belief that the Hat Man is demonic. So basically, people believe that he's a demon.
Yeah.
He presents himself in this manner to look like the Hat Man and goes around causing issues. And thirdly, people believe that he's interdimensional, and that's my belief. An interdimensional being would be a being that's not of this planet. So he lives outside of our relative of time and space. He lives outside of death. He just kind of always is, always was, and is there, and that's why he can easily transcend between our plane and other planes. It kind of goes along with the whole alien idea that it's of a different universe. A lot of people have this, like, if anybody knows any of the Bigfoot lore and watches, like, I can't remember that one famous Bigfoot show. It has Bobo on it.
Oh, Finding Bigfoot, or
yeah, that I think. They had a whole thing on there with Native Americans that believed Bigfoot was not an actual creature, but it was an interdimensional being. That's why they seem to come and go and
I've heard
not
about
leave
that too.
much trace. And
Yeah.
okay,
How did they manage to always hit the forest, though?
that's a really good question.
yeah, because I mean, like, wouldn't we see him in other areas then if that was the case?
Yeah.
You
He'd be
would
at
sure think
Starbucks
so.
sometime.
I would think so. I mean, about a
Getting
portal.
pumpkin spice.
Are you having more pumpkin spice? Am I missing this?
Bigfoot loves pumpkin spice, yeah.
Oh,
He does.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do, guys.
Yep.
I'm trying to lure him. I'm trying to bait
He
him.
drinks that shit all up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Spice
shit.
right here. And it's
So-
come over
so-
So you think
You know
it's
what's interesting about Hat Man
Yes.
is I heard stories about this when I was a teenager, and
Okay.
without giving exact figures, this was a fucking long time ago.
Yeah, SK is an old man.
No, he's young at heart. He's young at heart.
Yeah, that's true.
No kidding. All my friends are like old fuckers. Kids I went to school with, and they're like going to bed. Anyway,
sorry.
But I heard I really did hear stories about Hat Man as a teenager going after young Christian men and Hillary Clinton-esque escapades, like making them commit suicide. But more than one of them.
Yep.
Make them like Esping themselves, right? Just hang themselves in a
Epsteining them in their rooms, where like they would have to, like one case that I heard of, the ceiling was too short to commit, so the person who would have had to hold their knees up, it was a young man, would have had to, and in all of these cases, these men in long black coats and flat-brimmed black hats were seen hanging around the house before.
Oh yeah, okay, so absolutely. A lot of people have speculated that the Hat Man was a precursor for the story The Boogeyman. That, there's this being that comes out, tries to get you, you need to stay away, and obviously the Boogeyman was transcended into, teach it to your kids so they don't do bad shit and stuff like that. But yeah, so the Hat Man, as far as I know, and the different stories that I've heard and my own personal experiences and collections that I haven't known for the Hat Man to ever physically cause harm. So for them to have reached out and scratched someone or, held them while they were going to kill themselves or anything like that. However, it is completely correct that lots of times they seem to be connected to suicide, self-harm, those types of situations. It is plausible to me, and there are a lot of connections to putting thoughts, ideas, kind of showing people images in their heads, which then in turn would make them do something like that. So, it's not like they actually pushed them off the bridge, but they sat them on the edge and gave them enough to go ahead and do it. Lots of times,
influencing.
Yeah, exactly. They'll influence people to do negative things. They're oftentimes
sounds like me.
Damn, man, what a douche.
So maybe that's what it is. You're one of the people that you die and then you become the Hat Man.
SK
is like Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah, look at that. You'd be the Hat Man in the next life. What's interesting to me, though, about this Hat Man is that not only has SK heard about this, but a lot of other people, not just in the U.S., but across the globe, have heard about the Hat Man. They have similar stories of seeing the shadow figure. And it's not just a shadow figure.
I want to be clear that I have never seen this.
You've never seen
phenomenon,
but you've heard about it.
I've only heard
question, though.
Yeah.
For Justin, you said that you think it's like from a different dimension. What gives you that idea that that's what it is? Because a lot of things that I've read, people claim it to be more like a demonic thing.
Yep. So what gives me the impression that it is a interdimensional being rather than a demonic figure is I've seen it. I've seen it on three separate. Yes.
Okay.
I have seen the Hat Man on 3 separate occasions.
I'm gonna have to take a bump of pumpkin spice for that one. I didn't for my mind about that. Holy shit! Oh, wow. Woo.
You got your pumpkin spice. I'll stick to my bottle of Southern Comfort, I think.
Yep. All right, we're good.
I'm having kamikaze again tonight.
I'm drinking water.
Says the youngest of us all.
No, Justin's younger than me.
Oh, okay. Good job, Justin.
All right, so tell us about the first time you saw the Hat Man.
All right, so first time I ever saw the Hat Man. Basically, I'll throw some stuff out there so that you can get a full picture. I was in an extremely dark period of my life. I was going through some real self-harm stuff, some real depressive stuff, some real never planned to commit suicide, never planned anything like that, but I had those thoughts and those considerations. And the first time I ever saw him was actually just outside of my window. I'm just kind of chilling up. I was having a smoke and just looking outside, and the thing that's weird about it is it didn't, like walk, from the side, like into my vision. It didn't kind of slowly fade in and present itself. It's almost like, like Thanos snapped his fingers and boom, it was there. And it was weird because it almost was in my mind as if it like had come through, a rift in time, a portal, some sort of something that it just boom and it appeared there, and it presented itself with glowing red eyes.
Now, what I like about this, what I was trying to say earlier is that this sort of story is not just your story. Like, I've heard this so many times. I heard this from a guest that we had on the show before, Dave Bray. Very, very optimistic motherfucker. Like, he's so much optimism in his veins. But
it's exhausting.
Apparently, doing some research before the show, a lot of people across the globe, the different cultures, have reported this. They're in their lowest of the low moment, maybe the suicidal thoughts, maybe on pills, maybe substance abuse, a lot of dark things happening. And then they see this guy. Some say he enters the room. Some say he just appears. Some say he's in the corner watching. Okay. So I'm just putting it out there. So there might be some credibility to this. I mean, I'm not going to deny that you didn't feel it, that you didn't see it.
I'm sorry. I was taking a sip. Were you asleep before this happened, or trying to sleep?
No, I was fully awake. I was actually sitting over on we have in my home, we have a porched-in area, like 3 Seasons room.
Okay.
And I was just having a smoke like I normally do. It was probably like 8:30.
I was just looking for just checking that you weren't in a sleep paralysis phase, where a lot of times things that people think happen to them are just lucid dreaming in sleep paralysis stage.
Yep.
Which is common with the Hat Man. Very common.
It's extremely common, and I've had sleep paralysis in my life.
Well, everybody does every night.
Yeah.
Just FYI. Well, waking up during sleep paralysis is not typical, though.
Yeah. Which and that is actually one of the so if you are to research, like scientific debunking of the Hat Man or of shadow figures, one common thing that will be brought up is people who are in sleep paralysis seeing shadow figures or something, a shadow thing coming towards them. And
they'll see all kinds of shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I have woken up during sleep and had that sleep paralysis, but that's a long story connected to me having nightmares from a very young age. But it's a really weird situation because you wake up, your mind's awake, but your body's asleep, and you do have some weird kind of hallucination stuff. But the thing that I would say about that is the hallucinations, so to speak, or the shadows you see are nowhere near as like clear and like in your face as like seeing the Hat Man.
Which is consistent from the stories I was told, that they did not consider what they saw, these men in black. They did not consider them to be shadow people or anything short of full-figured people. They just thought they were men. Yeah. They just thought they were men walking through the property and that type of thing. There was nothing ethereal about them.
Well, and it's interesting that you make that point, because if it, I have I have an alarm system on my home. I have my guns for protection, things like that. And the first time I saw it, if it hadn't presented itself with red eyes, I can almost guarantee I would have been running for my gun, because I'd have thought there was somebody outside in black trying to break into my house. Because nothing gave me the impression that, I'm looking at a ghost, or I'm looking at a spiritual being at all.
Well, what would happen if you shot at it, though? I'm curious what would happen if you shot at the Hat Man.
I'd guess no idea. Nothing.
I'd probably shoot my neighbor's house.
Maybe
behind it.
So okay. So the first.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. So the first time you saw him, and like you said you were like thinking about suicide and things like that. You're a low moment. Is there anything unique that stands out about that moment? Any sort of feelings or thoughts?
Other than seeing the Man in Black.
Well,
see, the low moment thing also makes me think demonic, because that's typically when they come and wreak havoc, is when you're going through a low point in your life.
Yeah, which is true. I think the probably the main thing, other than obviously being scared shitless by this thing I'm looking at, is it didn't really feel like fear. It didn't really feel too much like I was terrified of it, but it was attempting to intimidate. It was a feeling of you're in elementary school, and the principal comes in and is towering over you, and trying to show you who's boss. And I personally feel that's why the red eyes were presented in that moment, because I've heard lots of stories where there's not red eyes. I've heard lots of stories where the Hat Man was extremely tall, other ones where it was short, other one where it was average height. And like you said a while ago, you've heard a bunch of stories. I've collected over 36 stories on the Hat Man. I mean, and they are all generally the same exact kind of story. There's
nice
little, yeah.
It's very interesting about this. I mean, that part that you hear these multiple stories from all across the globe, like I said earlier, that it makes you think, okay, what's going on here? Especially since it's not always just sleep paralysis, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, what is it exactly? Is it because I've heard stories that make it seem like like you just framed it as something demonic, but some people I've heard, and this sounds crazy, that maybe they're good because they seem to always come around when you're at your weakest moment. So maybe they're a sign of, hey, you need to get your shit together.
Well,
Yep.
except for every story that I heard, always involved a suicide.
Well,
most of those stories, I would say that me and quite a few of the other people I've talked to are probably a rarity about having seen it and didn't have something completely life-ending or life-altering happen in the process. I'd like to, Tammy, if you want to, we can play around with the demon versus interdimensional being thing, because I definitely, I'm like, as I said, I'm leaning towards the interdimensional, but I've been on the fence with it for a while.
You said that you felt comfortable. You almost felt comfortable with it, right? Is that basically what you said? Like you felt maybe intimidated, but you weren't scared.
Yeah, I was intimidated, but I didn't have. I was obviously, once I realized it wasn't a person that I needed to be on my guard and try and take care of, and that kind of fear of oh my God, there's an intruder. It was just pure looking at this thing, that was peering back at me, and it was just a feeling of a fighter before a match trying to intimidate.
So I don't know if you saw my post a while back where I said the dark cases that I've always that I've had, those are the cases that I always felt the most comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think when people like think demonic, they automatically think fear.
Mhm.
But whenever I've worked a demonic case, I've never been fearful. Like, I was almost most comfortable, and it was like my element. So,
Whoa, that says so much about you.
But you're weird, Tammy.
You're into that stuff. Which,
well, it's not that I'm into it.
Hey, Satan, how you doing, girl?
I mean, you're a demon, right?
Ew.
Oh my god.
Let's go shoot shopping.
Fucking hate you guys.
Okay, so just to make sure, this is not something I would want to see, right? So I shouldn't go around trying to play around to try to provoke the hat.
No, you shouldn't.
Okay.
I mean, unless it's something that you really feel you have to experience for yourself, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
That's like these Hollywood movies using real demon names in their movies. Like, it's just not smart.
Oh yeah, no. Mm-mm.
So
You don't want to do that.
okay, now so it sounds like some people who see the Hat Man don't live to talk about it, right? From what SK said and from what I gathered so far from J2.
I mean, I get those stories at least third hand. So,
Yeah,
But
you can't get it firsthand.
How was their story?
but
ever
more
even
than one
told
story,
if they
so
killed
it's weird,
themselves?
right?
Mhm.
So
How does
that
anybody know that these people saw the Hat Man if they're no longer?
yeah.
dead?
Well,
So
because like the parents saw them around the house beforehand.
Weird.
Yeah.
That sounds like my mother's brother's cousin's sister's auntie.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
I have no illusions about any of this shit I know that every story that I heard was at least secondhand.
Yeah. Could be a story. It could be fabricated, but I mean, that's what these. It's like it could be. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. I don't know. It's just a story. It's anecdotal. You know. It's just okay.
But the only thing, the thing that is really weird is that there are some, external consistencies to these stories.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is very consistent. So
This was back in
I
the
believe it.
70s, guys.
Now now J2, you've seen it 3 times, right? And you survived.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we know you're not
I could
possessed?
Spirit. Light up my K2 to red.
Because if you didn't survive, this is an even better show than we planned.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, dude, y'all just got real famous.
I just actually summoned a ghost. It actually happened.
Well, Justin's my friend, so I summoned the ghost.
Oh, okay.
Fucking with you.
Okay,
You
so
know, she's the cool hipster ghost friend.
yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay, so I mean, let's talk about the second time you've seen the ghost the Hat Man, because the Hat Man's not a ghost, right? He's
No.
something
Some
else.
kind of entity.
Okay.
Yeah, some kind of entity, whether demonic, interdimensional. I think those are generally the two most
Oh man, Hatman
agreed upon.
and Bigfoot could be buds.
You also brought up Alien, right? And I feel like there's a lot of things in common between demonic and alien forces.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think the thing about Alien is it gets so easily used and thrown around because it's pretty much just something that, isn't supposed to be there, or you don't know what it is.
Like, I don't know if you saw the movie The Fourth Kind, but like, to me, it looked like that bitch was possessed. Like, that reminded me way more of possession than like an alien coming down and probing her.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that Bigfoot might also be interdimensional. I don't know if that was the pre-show stuff or if it was on the show.
He said it here.
So does that mean like Hatman and Bigfoot could be like friends?
They're homies.
They could be.
There's the city guy, Hatman, and there's the country guy,
And there's the country guy.
They meet at the pub at night and have a drink and talk about the people they drove insane that day.
Right. Shit.
I think the argument there would be whether or not they are interdimensional, and then if they are, because they're, that you're diving into the idea of, how many different universal planes are there? Do we all exist on the same? Are our human souls vibrating at different frequencies, and we're actually on different planes?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
That's some shit that I don't think anybody can even begin to understand. Anyone who says they're an expert on it is full of shit.
I would think so. I would agree with that.
Anything paranormal or supernatural.
It's just exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, because right now, there's a bunch of different hypotheses about what this is. My question is there any way to test any of this? Like, how do you test whether or not something is an interdimensional being? How do you test that? Right?
That's a super good question. That's one I don't know the answer to.
Come out to California. Let's summon this motherfucker and let's find out.
I'd be down.
Now,
how else would we test it?
Okay. So,
and then I could throw a second or another monkey wrench in there, which is the idea that, because he's consistently seen around really horrible situations that oftentimes seem to end in death, that there is a good belief that he is a type of interdimensional being that would be referred to as a soul collector.
Yeah. Now,
which would then still kind of fall into the whole demonic thing. Yeah.
Is that similar to the Grim Reaper, though? Because some people who say that see hooded figures, but he's not a hooded figure. He's the Hat Man.
No, he yes.
And he's classy, man. He doesn't wear a hoodie. He's got a hat. Right. He's got like a Stetson or maybe an Akubra.
Yeah, he ditched the hood. The thing that I
grown up.
He's very mature.
Yeah. The thing that I found extremely interesting, the first time I ever heard the Hat Man referred to as collecting souls, is I didn't know what the Hat Man was. I didn't know what it was called when I originally saw it. So I went to a good friend of mine who had been researching the paranormal, who I'd known for a while. And what I called it to him was the key holder. It was just what came to my mind. It's what felt right. He's the one who told me it was called the Hat Man. And then I went into, my research. But hearing from him that it collects souls was kind of interesting. And that's why I ran with that idea. And coming up and finding with more deaths, and to kind of backtrack just a little bit when there was the whole thing about how if they're dead, we know we saw it, stuff like that. Probably my closest connection to a story like that is I talked to a lady who her brother had said he had seen the creature or whatever you want to call it, and had passed away or committed suicide about 2 months later, and he had journal entries of it.
Oh, wow.
So I really tried my freaking hardest to obtain those entries. She felt it was too private to show me, which I respected. So I can't verify whether those entries are real or not. But it's what I was told.
You can respect that, yeah, but it's also for his. Come on, like you want to see it, but it's like, come on, okay.
Well, yeah. And I think for research basis, so we can really figure this out. Being able to see those entries would be so much more helpful than just, he wrote about it and he died.
And I've continued to try and chip away mentioning it every once in a while, and if I end up with them, I'm absolutely gonna try and really read it and see what it connects to and stuff like that. But as far as right now, I haven't been able to gain access to them if they exist. I mean, that's obviously the open-ended question.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole idea of it being a soul collector makes a lot of sense to me, for the simple fact that it seems to always be found around people who essentially have, one foot in the grave.
Yeah.
Whether it's they're killing themselves with drugs and alcohol, they're suicidal, they're there have been people who have considered it an omen, like they saw it one day, got into a car accident, and almost died the next. So it makes a lot of valid sense to me that this being could have something to do with that. Mm-hmm. And I know you asked me about the second time I ever saw it.
Yes.
I was the weird thing about these situations, and it's my story. I've only heard connected to a couple others as I went through it, or as I've collected different stories. But when I saw it for the second time, I was better. I was not. I had found a medication that helped me. I had been getting counseling. I went through a hospitalization, stuff like that. I was getting so much better. When I saw it the second time, it was in a similar circumstance. It was at night, but this time it was in my room. However, it didn't display itself with red eyes, and I didn't feel nearly as intimidated. And the only true connection that I could really make, and connection that I've made with a couple other people that have gone through this, about 6 other stories I have heard and talked to people, that I'm not 100% certain that this thing really likes kind of losing, so to speak.
Now, after you saw it the second time, did you go back downward in depression, or did things stay pretty good at that point?
No, things actually stayed pretty decent. I had a couple of days after that where I had some more intense. I have nightmares every single night, but they were more intense, and they actually had the Hat Man in it. That could have just been my psyche dealing with seeing it again. So I'm not saying that had anything to do with the Hat Man, but overall, I stayed pretty much on track of going where I am. I mean, mental illness is always all over the place, but I was
so
way better.
I apologize if this is too personal of a question, but how much pumpkin spice were you consuming at the time?
I was snorting about a pound a day. I'll tell you. It was pretty bad.
Dark days,
huh?
Man.
Man, I'm going
dark days.
I was a pound this morning. I'm going through my third pound right now. Which, guys, by the way, just to remind everybody, hey, $10 spice bombs.
For pulling out of that.
Come on,
tailspin, man. That's just amazing.
Ooh,
most people don't.
Woo!
Oh god.
Oh shit! Cool Tactic actually did donate.
Cool Tactic, $20. So that means what? I mean,
woohoo! Bump a line, dude.
Are you really snorting that?
I already did earlier.
Real?
I did earlier, and it hurt.
Fucking crazy.
Come on, let's see it.
Thank you, Cool. I want that. I get. Well, we have to split that 23 ways. Come on, do it again.
It's my nose, motherfucker.
It can't burn any worse than cocaine, so just do it.
I don't know. I'm a good boy. Never done that.
Oh, whatever. Okay, so Justin.
Yes.
The third time that you experienced this, where were you at mentally?
So the third time I experienced it, I was pretty much where I am right now. A lot better. Still dealing with shit, but I probably will for the rest of my life. Yeah. But when I saw it for the third time, this is the part that I think is the most interesting about it, and why I've kind of come to my own individual conclusion that it comes back every once in a while to try and intimidate again. But because you're out of that place, it can't do as much. It doesn't affect as bad. And I think that it genuinely tries to stick around and tries to latch on because it's extremely, it seems angry that it lost.
Right.
It didn't get you. It didn't at the end of the day collect your soul like it wanted to. And the third time I saw it, it was so pretty much similar, except I was at a friend's house and I was heading out to my car. This wasn't at night. This was about 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
And when I saw it, it appeared just behind my vehicle as I was getting ready to get in my car.
Mm-hmm.
But it was considerably smaller. So
like he shrunk? Like he's a
I'm
leprechaun?
your Uber driver. Make him pay.
I'm your Uber driver. Get in.
If he's going to show up at your car, he's got to pay for the ride.
What was the time frame from the first to the third?
From the first and the third, about, let's see, about a period of 3 years.
So
Okay.
would you say like once a year it came around?
Yeah, I'm sure it's a little less. Probably a fair assumption.
I mean, it was around the
Was
same
it around
time
the
each
same
year,
time
though?
of the year,
Yeah.
or was it different times?
No, it was different times.
Okay.
The first one happened about 6 days after my 17th birthday. So that would have been in January. The second time was in September because I was just getting ready to restart school up. And the third time took place just at the end of August.
Of this year?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Wow. Does it seem to be connected with any particular people you see or anything? I mean...
Nope, it really seems to be just extremely random. I think the only real connection that I could make was the last, or obviously not the first time, but the second or the following 2 times happened about a week or so after some big event in my life. So it wasn't necessarily bad. I don't remember what happened the second time, but the third time was I had just had my graduation party.
Okay.
So
like milestones almost.
Yeah, like a milestone in my life, and I still just find really kind of weird about the situation of seeing it the third time. Was like I said, I mean, it wasn't each time especially the first time. The first time I saw it, it was just super, tall and broad, and it was just, blacker than the night sky, darker than the night sky.
Okay.
And had the eyes were just so beet red and glowing, and it was just super intense. The second time I saw it, it still had that height and the darkness to it, but the third time I saw it, after I was doing so much better mentally in comparison to the first time, it was smaller. The darkness of it seemed almost like was a little hazier. Wasn't the whole experience was nowhere near as intense.
So it's almost like it's fading away.
Yeah, that'd be a good example.
Yeah.
So, as you have, I'm sure you have reflected back over these experiences. Have you discovered any kind of common thread between those events?
I would say probably the most blatant part, or the most blatant thing that pops into my head, was every single time I had seen it, the night before I had the same exact dream.
Okay. What was that?
So basically what it was is I was walking through, I guess, the easiest way that I can describe it is that it is what I would assume purgatory is like. Just real dark, emptiness, almost like walking through a forest where like all the trees had been burned down.
Mm-hmm.
So there's
I've been
just
in
like
those places.
there's just like
No, but I mean for real.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's just like ash seems to be falling from everywhere, and I had that dream, but other than that, I can't say there was any real.
Oh my God, that's like
connection.
that's like a volcano going off.
Yeah, that's
like
a good
Silent
example.
Because I live in the Pacific Northwest. We had Mount St. Helens, and that is exactly what that was like. Trees devastated, knocked down, ash falling from the skies.
That's exactly what it was like.
Wow.
I mean, just this ash falling and just the overwhelming feeling, not even of dread or fear of anything, but just emptiness.
Okay.
Like there's nothing. I've got nothing. I've got no one. There's nothing around. I don't even have my thoughts and aspirations anymore. Just complete nothing.
Interesting. Now we got the super chat here. Been needing to read it for a while. From Cool Tactic. I had a sleep paralysis incident where I saw a shadowy figure in the corner of my room. When I tried to focus on it, it shrieked. Its face was skeleton-like, though I think it's just your brain waking up weird in REM sleep, or REM sleep. So what do you think about that?
That's an excellent point. How do you tell the difference between something from your dream state and something that's in your reality?
But when
Go ahead, Tammy.
when Justin experienced it, none of the times was he sleeping.
Yeah, that's what's interesting about him.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things too that I never think that somebody isn't telling me the truth. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're giving me their honest opinion. But it's always the stories that I get that they tell me. And I don't remember who it was that asked me that question of where you would sleep. But that's the first question that I ask somebody, because I automatically, in my mind, discredit that story just a little bit, because I don't know. The brain can do some real weird shit. And I want to make sure. I want to make sure that they're, that they were awake. They had complete clarity. They weren't drinking. They weren't, on something. That this was a coherent and, noticed phenomenon.
Yeah, and there's something. I'm glad you mentioned the brain can do some weird stuff, because it definitely can, and that's definitely ties into this. At least some people have an argument for it. It gets okay. So shadow people, like, I don't know if you know a lot of meth users, but they will often claim they see shadow people because they stay up all night, all week long, not getting any sleep, and they're so deprived of sleep and all that, they see things. Of course, it doesn't help that they're on fucking meth, but
also being on drugs in that state also can open you up to things otherworldly as well. So
that's true also.
Now, the other thing is, though, if you ever go without sleep for long periods of time, you will start seeing stuff. Like, your mind will be playing tricks on you. Like, it's like, am I seeing something because I'm more open up to it, or am I seeing something because my brain's going fucking haywire? What's going on here?
The Germans did an experiment with that during Nazi Germany, where they took a whole bunch of prisoners. It wasn't verified, but most likely of Jewish descent from the concentration camps, and did a whole thing where they put them in a deprivation chamber, and they gave them some kind of a gas that kept them awake.
Oh, the Germans were good with meth. Like, methamphetamines were around for a while, Yeah, it could have been.
But how do you explain it when somebody's completely awake and not asleep? No, I mean, I see shadow figures in my house all the time.
I do too.
Come over my house.
Iron Maiden in the chat.
Mushrooms.
Iron Maiden brought up in the chat. Narcolepsy. Could y'all? I mean, do y'all have narcolepsy?
I'm not narcoleptic. No.
Okay.
No. No. And I mean, literally everyone that's been to my house has seen it. So that would be a lot of people that would have that, and I highly doubt that's the case.
I mean, your house is.
So where do you buy your mushrooms?
Fuck you.
She goes and picks them off herself.
All natural, organic mushrooms. In Tammy's backyard.
in Tammy's backyard. She grows them herself.
Yep.
Whole Foods, bitches.
Hole and a half. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
And I've seen other shadow figures that other than the Hat Man, but I think the thing that makes me, and this kind of goes back to the interdimensional topic, that the reason, for whatever reason, my brain went to that after talking to people, was I've seen other shadow figures and it was just a completely different feel. Now maybe that's because the Hat Man is demonic, so it has a different power, or it's interdimensional, so it's different. I can't make sure of that for certain, but I have a really good friend of mine who is a spiritual healer and stuff like that, and I've spoken with her, and it is of her opinion that for whatever reason, she calls it an antenna, that I got something going on that attracts this crap to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I've had when I was in first grade, I had my parents called to the school because I was talking about seeing people in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And according to the teacher, there was no people in the hallway, so they're assuming I'm schizophrenic and this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
But there's a really weird, I think, out of all the different people, talk about seeing this shadow figure, this situation that's connected to that. But it goes back to the weirdness of how consistent Hat Man stories are and the way they make people feel.
I will say the consistency kind of gives it.
They make me feel kind of weird in my pants.
Do you have a boner?
Not completely.
A little twitch.
There's some stirrings.
The Hat Man reminds him of his uncle or something.
Oh, jeez.
SK, you need a therapy session now?
I think we should set
This is the therapy session, I thought.
Oh, well, your therapist is doing bumps and pumpkin spice, so I think you hit the wrong person here. Which, by the way, just because I feel like it.
It really is. I gotta say though, I'm a complete skeptic. Well, not skeptic, agnostic when it comes to paranormal. I'm not a skeptic. I'm agnostic. I am yet to be convinced. I'm not.
My thing is,
I'm not. It's not. I'm not opposed to being convinced. I am yet to be convinced. And yet, the fact that you can come on this show now and talk about stories that I heard back in the 70s is pretty weird.
It is pretty weird.
but see, there's always going to be some like medical or scientific explanation of all these things that we experience. But
eventually, right?
And well, I mean, because people come to doctors with this stuff and they don't have a fucking clue what it is, so they come up with some little it's this and that, and I don't know. I know I'm not crazy.
Here's the thing with the Hat Man. I mean, yes, so a lot of people across the globe do report about the Hat Man. So what is it? Either it's a common thing that people can see, or maybe it's a common thing that kind of happens. I mean, common in a way that, okay, it's not just like, I guess, just pertains to this one culture, this one group of people, whatever. It's something that can be shared. It's a human trait. Maybe it's related to that. Maybe it's related to. That's why some people say maybe something sleep related. Maybe it's a hallucination. But why is it always the same? Why is it just a man wearing a hat? Why this? Why that?
There are phenomena of all kinds that can be tracked down across the globe. Even in ancient, isolated cultures, Joseph Campbell, for example, tracked down, archetypes of mythologies that were
right.
consistent even in isolated cultures.
That's right.
So there is something. There is some way that we transmit this information between cultures.
Collective unconscious, like a very.
I don't buy
Jungian?
that shit.
You
I
you
really
buy that?
don't.
The Carl Jung stuff.
I
don't know.
I really don't. But
What's
I
the
don't
next
know
theory?
what the answer is either.
I mean,
Well, just like schizophrenia and demonic possession, they're so very close in symptoms too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The weird thing about the Hat Man versus other stories of apparitions and even other shadow figures that I've heard of is the people that I've talked to and how they explain just how defined it is. It's not like, well, it was hazy and I could kind of see it, or a face kind of formed, or this thing was standing there but it only had half a body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a full figured. I could draw the outline of it perfectly, and it was even more confusing to me how defined it was and how I could draw that outline when I'm looking outside at night. It's pitch black outside, and I'm looking at a pitch black figure that is somehow more dark than darkness itself.
Whoa. What? Okay. That is weird. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, are you
that's
okay,
right.
Jesse? You look like you're sweating over there.
I am sweating. My nose is burning. I'm
Are
feeling.
you feeling anything other than that though? Like, do you need to go to the hospital or something?
What? No, I'm good. What? I need to go to the hospital. I'm good.
It's the
I don't know,
pain of realizing how
You're not
basic he
looking very
is.
good.
I'm gonna be okay. But oh my God, guys!
Hey! By the way, Jesse, if you were to collapse at this time, does your wife know to stop the stream so it doesn't just go on forever?
Oh, I'm good. I'm not gonna collapse. What, am I gonna have an overdose of pumpkin
Stop
spice?
the stream and then call 911. Let's just
Come on, guys. I could do another hit. I could do another full.
No, I don't think you should. You're sweating. You look kind of ill. I
right.
would-
Yeah, you
ill do I
need to
look?
do injections now.
You need to do injections? Okay, I got that. Where's my syringe? Right here. Here you go. Syringe.
Oh my God.
This is a pin. It's a pin syringe. Come on, guys.
Oh my God.
Oh man, but so how sick do I look? Do I look
You look a little flush, and
Little
you're
flush?
kind of
Like
sweaty.
Pee Wee Herman ran a 10K.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me do a
Alright,
close up
thank you,
cam.
okay.
Close up cam. Which, by the way, guys,
Oh my
you love me or hate me, you can send another $10 and I'll do another one.
Finish him off. Come on,
Come
people.
Come on, make it
Yeah,
happen.
best man, I can take over the show.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Come on.
Hat Man shows up behind him and speeds up the IV drip.
That's what I'm trying
Hey,
to do.
look at that close up. Look at how sweaty he is.
I'm trying to bring up the Hat Man.
Do you got boob sweat too?
I'm like Val Kilmer at the end of Tombstone over here. I'm coughing up
Do you
blood.
have under boob sweat?
Tammy,
No,
weren't
it's
we promised some underboob here tonight?
Yeah, show us some
From
under
Jesse?
boob. Come on.
oh, well, what was the price of that? What did I say? I said $20.
See it. $20 for under boob. Come on.
I know Cool Tactic donated $20, but technically Google
on,
takes a cut of
Tyler.
that, so that's not a full-on 20. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, come on.
Oh wow! Look at that.
That's cheapo hedging,
Okay,
man.
I'll do it. Switch the camera over. No, I'm just
Also, okay. I get kicked off of YouTube
Yeah,
for that.
I'm gonna vote yes on that one.
Yeah, so we have your
Send
cam
in
working.
$50 and you'll get Tammy under boob.
Yeah, Tammy, if you totally have the cam working, just show us. Here, I'll show you my.
I'm wearing a
underboob.
crop top. It works.
Here you go. I'll show you my underboob right now. Here we go. Ready?
I don't think I'll ever be ready.
I lost my dignity a long time ago, guys. A long time ago.
Oh my god. We'll get kicked off YouTube for that, so.
Oh, don't worry, Tammy. We have you on camera. It's good. Here we go. Here's mine. Ready?
Oh god.
Okay.
No.
Oh god.
There you go.
Oh god.
Oh shit!
God.
I went too high. Oh, fuck.
I don't see it because there's a delay on the fucking YouTube.
There was a nip slip.
No.
Ah!
Kicked off YouTube. Nudity.
Mine would have been much better.
It would have been, but we would have been kicked off because YouTube hates female nipples. YouTube is
under boob and no nip. Why would it matter if it didn't show nip?
I find myself wishing for Hatman to show up.
I am too.
I know, I'm kind of like ruined now. I saw Jesse's nipple. Fuck my life.
Take me now, Hatman.
The fact that I had that power makes me happy.
Candyman. I don't know.
Tammy G.
Yes.
Hey, but a serious question, guys.
Holy shit, it worked.
Does the Hatman ever take off his hat?
No.
Why not?
I don't think so.
Power, maybe.
That's really poor manners.
I know, right?
A gentleman takes off his hat when he's indoors.
Well, I don't.
You know,
think the Hat Man's worried about being a gentleman.
Yeah, I think since he's like hoping you kill yourself, I don't think he really cares about the hat.
Yeah.
Does he provide the drugs to do so, though? Is
he just
like,
lost a lot of respect from me.
does the Hatman bring the extra pumpkin spice I'm going to need to do the job?
I feel like he should. If he's going to put you through all that, the least he can do is fix it first.
Right? Like, here you
better
go,
not
boy.
fix
Here's
me
a
after seeing
syringe.
those nipples.
He just walks in with 3 pounds of pumpkin spice, slaps it on your desk.
There you go.
The first hit is free.
I mean, the Dave Bray guy that was on the show, he'd said that he was in a low moment. I don't remember the full story, but his account was like the Hatman came into the room and was bringing a cart. Had a cart with I guess some gas on or something, and put a gas.
Whoa!
Okay.
You remember that, right?
He's an anesthesiologist.
Yeah. Yeah.
From beyond.
And it's actually really interesting that you bring that up, because I've heard similar stories. Not that the Hat Man had a cart, but he's kind of appeared, say, next to a table, and then on the table right after, like, he appears, and just as fast as he appears, he disappears, and then on the table he was by is a knife, and this is right when the person was thinking about cutting or committing self-harm. Probably the most, like, the story that got me was that, whether or not it's true, I couldn't verify, but that the Hat Man appeared and was just kind of standing there looking at this guy, and then he looks down to his left, and there was a rope.
I'm getting shivers, man. I'm getting shivers. I'm looking around this garage. I don't see anything. I'm just like, do you ever sense him when you don't see him? Like, is it?
Well, that's definitely something that I've heard before, is that there are a bunch of people who think that, especially if you've seen him once, that you don't necessarily see him again, but he's constantly there, putting those negative thoughts or pushing you to do something impulsive or things like that. And that kind of goes with the...
Oh, go ahead.
That's another demonic trait.
And it kind of goes with the theory that it can be following you at all times, but can choose at either your lowest moment, or, I think in my case, when it was growing increasingly irritated that I hadn't relapsed in my self-harm or anything like that, to show itself as an intimidation tactic. That it picks its times whether to show itself, because I think if it could keep you under control without doing so, I don't see why it wouldn't.
Whoa. Okay, I think I'm good. I just had a craving. Sorry.
You know what? Now that you mention it, maybe I saw Hat Man at a strip club.
Why at a strip club?
I mean, why
That's
not?
his lowest
right?
moment.
Like a dancer?
It was.
No,
he's on
in the
stage?
audience.
Oh.
No, in the
You
audience.
see a lot of Hat Men in the audience, but I don't think they're the same thing.
Okay.
You know, look, Hat Man's got a part-time job. He just needs you to keep it quiet, all right?
Mhm.
He's a bouncer at Fuzzies, all right? Leave him be.
But let me ask you this. I mean, I wake up every day and have dark thoughts.
Busy guy.
I wake up every day and have dark thoughts. I haven't seen a Hat Man. When I mean dark thoughts, I mean, what kind of dark thoughts do you think I'm talking about? I'm over here snorting pumpkin spice. So I'll leave that up to your imagination, okay? So,
Dirty cake doesn't count.
well, you know. So it's weird that I haven't seen him. But
Yeah,
maybe-
I think there's never an exact rhyme or reason for the phenomenon. I think that, like I said, I think he chooses his moments.
No.
And either you've been maybe
You're not
lucky
worthy,
enough.
Jesse.
Yeah. You know, either you've been not, you know, you're not lucky enough for, you know, it to show itself, or, you know, I think too that it there are other shadow people or other shadow figures that seem to perform similar acts and showing up at bad parts of time and showing up. And or if we go to the demonic side of things rather than interdimensional side of things, it could be this specific demon's form that it takes, whereas something that may be ailing you or something like that chooses not to take a form at all.
Oh shit! So he could be watching me,
Yeah.
and I just don't know it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Is that why I'm another
Oh,
shot of
absolutely.
pumpkin spice going to
Can
my mouth?
present themselves.
I want more.
I
my
just
God.
thought it was the neighbor lady.
What, being a peeping Tom?
Yeah.
So the neighbor lady wants to see your junk.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Show it to her.
Oh my god.
Jesus, I'm here putting on a show, and it could be fucking Hat Man.
Go hang
I
out
don't
with
want
Hat
him.
Man.
He's
I don't
like,
wanna-
oh,
I
he's
don't want
suffering
him to
enough.
be.
I'll let him be.
Look.
I don't want Hat Man seeing
I
this
think-
show.
I think if Hat Man came in here, I would let him come on the show. Right? Like, come
You
on.
would or you wouldn't?
I would. Give him.
You
fuck
know
yeah.
what? Hat Man's kind of shy, and he doesn't talk a lot. He's a man of action. Like
He just
Jason
likes to get
Statham.
into your head.
Like Jason Statham. I just imagine to myself, like I'm in this room right now talking about the Hat Man, and he's like over in the corner not showing himself. Like, these motherfuckers laugh at me one more time.
Well,
I'm gonna shut all this shit down.
well the last time
I'm
you
home-
saw him, he was teeny tiny. He was shrinking. You know, he was shriveling.
There's a Twitter report. Suicide after podcast.
That's not funny, but
It's like shrinkage. He went into cold water.
yeah. I was in the pool. It's natural. I'm a grower,
It
not a
always gets
shower.
that
I'm a
small.
grower, not a shower, J2. Okay? I'm gonna be intimidating.
Oh god.
So is your Hat Man over there in the corner, like lifting weights, trying to get strong? I'll be strong again.
Right?
You're gonna fear me.
No, he's searching for one of Willy Wonka's Oompa Loompas to put him in that stretch machine.
Oh man. So that's cool though. But it sounds like you're mastering the Hat Man. So it doesn't sound like he's. You don't have.
What?
To,
How long ago
you
was
don't have
the
to worry about
last incident that you experienced?
The last time I saw him was August of this year.
That's right. That's right.
Whoa! Like 2 months ago? Jesus.
Yeah, it was 2 months ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Holy shit! This
Yeah.
wasn't like old timey shit. This was
No.
recent.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Have you ever tried to communicate?
I did make one effort one time. I got home because I saw him at about 11 in the morning that last August when I was leaving my friend's house, and so my thought was, well,
no, I mean, just to be clear,
he's just standing in the corner narrating my life.
Yeah.
But I went home, and being a paranormal investigator, I've got a few different tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I tried to do a spirit box session.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything happen. I was in my home. I mean, my home's not a haunted location. I didn't have anything go on. I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
It seemed it did, and I guess we'll see if I see it again. But I did have the feeling after when I saw it that third time, and like I said, it seemed very non-intimidating, almost like a last-ditch effort to show itself. I'm curious to see if I see it again. I personally don't think that I'm going extremely decreased, especially from the first to the third.
So it was like he was losing its power with you.
Well,
yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it just happened too on your side. Like your mic is crackling, and then the OBS just reconnected. I don't think that has anything connected with the Hat Man, but that's weird.
It could be an intern's software mistake.
It could be. It could be. We're still live on the other place right now, but okay, we're good. We're good. Sorry.
Yeah, I do think that maybe it has, and I do. That's why I kind of have the feeling that maybe it got, especially the second time it showed itself, like just randomly, like popping up in front of my face. Like it wasn't far from me when it popped up the second time. Almost as if like I'm here. Don't forget. I'm still following you, hoping that I would relapse, because a lot of people, when they finally get help with their self-harm, a lot of people do relapse, and it's perfectly okay to do so. But I never did. And so I think that, that is the case. And that's why I also think that it is possibly a soul collector, that the closer and closer it feels it is getting at your soul, it has more power, almost like it's able to pull your soul towards the other side.
The less likely you were to follow through, the weaker the experience.
That's what it seemed.
Interesting concept.
That is interesting.
So under that premise, that suicide force in Japan should just be crawling with Hat Man.
Yeah, it should be.
Well, you would think so. That would actually be a really interesting place to like look for him.
Right?
Hey, Jesse, send me there. I'll do it.
Huh?
give me the money, pay for my trip. I'll go.
I'll go.
Okay.
The only thing, Tammy, from what I understand about that force, is it's really easy to get fucking lost.
That's all right.
Even better. Now, here's the thing, guys.
Lost.
Here's the thing, okay?
I don't get lost.
When we find a dead body, we can't be douchey about it. We can't be joking around about it. We can't do that.
No, that'll get you banned.
I won't be. I'm very respectful of the dead.
You gotta be respectful. You gotta know what.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Don't end
up like Logan Paul.
Or Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, Jake Paul, not Logan. I was right. Yeah, Logan Paul.
I mean, they're the same.
Pauls.
Don't be one of those.
That's disrespectful. That's just bullshit.
Yeah. First of all, don't go in there with a Pikachu hat or whatever.
We can disrespect a living guest, but but the dead, that's different.
Well, the rule is you all disrespect me all the fucking time. The guest is sacred. I don't touch the guest. I'm the lightning rod here.
All right, we need some more donations. We should do a fund to get us to the
absolutely. Let's go, Tammy.
Yeah, let's do this.
I'll do it.
Yeah, let's funner Japanese trip here. Let's go to Japan. I totally don't want to go there for perverted reasons. I totally am not going to hang out with the.
You're just going to buy panties out of the vending machines.
They have a lot of other things I want to do over there, but yeah, that's probably the first.
You're a married man.
I'm in Japan. That doesn't matter.
Panties aren't cheating, Tammy.
I'm in Japan. That's a whole other place.
If you're in a different if you're in a different time zone, it's not cheating.
Oh, wow. All right.
I like that, J2. I don't know my wife though, but I like that. I like that.
Did I cheat on you today? No. That was probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think it should just be you and ISK. Let's go.
No.
Oh my god.
I think people would pay to see me in Japan. All the crazy hijinks and shit. That'd be interesting.
You're so narcissistic. They'll pay to see me.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're so vain. Well,
No,
you're-
You know, you
not
have
see
to
me.
have other people on this show with you.
we could all go, guys. The whole crew. Okay.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
if you promise to not show my face, you'll get lots of money.
Okay.
But I bet
You can't show SK's face. You're like the grandpa.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh man. So let's talk a little bit about your paranormal investigation because we still have some time here and we're back on. Let's talk about that.
Alrighty. So I'll plug my team name real quick.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this is a long name. I don't expect anyone to remember it. I made a real horrible choice.
Yeah. Sounds like it.
But I feel like now I've used it and I can't go back.
I changed my team name 3 times. You can change it.
Oh, but
Isn't it like just
anyway,
changing a band name?
I live in Wisconsin, so my thought came,
Say something about cheeseheads.
dude, cheese fanatics of Southern Wisconsin. No. So I went with the whole Midwest idea, and so I called my team Celestial Midwest Paranormal Investigation.
Yeah.
That's
So
a mouthful.
that's-
You were so fucking high when you did that.
I didn't need you telling people that, but all right. I mean, I don't know how you know my smoking regimen.
Well, I mean, just from the name.
Oh yeah, it was. But yeah, so I haven't been investigating for too long. About a year now, I formed the team. I've done mainly local investigations, different areas around my hometown. I went and emailed a bunch of people that I knew and the historical society and stuff like that about, hey, give me your local ghost stories. You know, what type of stuff is around. So I've been slowly trying to check out and, you know, maybe see if I catch something or debunk a location or anything like that. And then probably the most interesting place I've investigated is, I mean, it's just an old country singer. Anybody ever listen to Loretta Lynn?
Stand by. No, not Stand By Your Man, but yes.
What song?
I do
What
know
song?
her.
What are some of her songs?
Farmer's Girl, she sang.
Farmer's Girl.
I can never think of the name of that one song. My dad is a huge Loretta Lynn fan. This is his favorite singer. So we wanted to go to. She has a ranch that is notoriously haunted.
Really?
She's claimed that it's haunted most of her life. She's still alive. There's been like TV shows that have went there. Like I think Ghost Adventures investigated there. And obviously, you know, I don't have the kind of pull to actually investigate inside of the ranch home. But she claims that the entire property is haunted. So what I wanted to do when we went there, you can buy cabins. Or not buy, but rent a cabin to stay at. So we stayed at a cabin, and I investigated the inside of the cabin, and I also investigated the Rice Cemetery, which is on the property. And
Holy shit, that is brilliant on her part.
Oh, massively. And so I did get some of the best evidence coming through a spirit box, and I had K2 stuff going on, which seemed to be intelligent K2 stuff because I would ask it a question, I'd tell it to stop, it would stop, I'd ask it a question if it wanted to talk some more, the K2 meter would get going, and I got some pretty neat responses from the SP7 spirit box. So I definitely want to try and go to that again. Did I ask it what?
Did you ask it to sing?
To sing.
Yeah,
I mean, that seems appropriate
Sing.
considering the location.
Just be like, hey, do me a favor and sing a Loretta Lynn song.
Yeah, come on.
I think probably the neatest thing about that whole experience, and I have this recording on my team's Facebook page, where at the very end, we've been having all this activity kind of from the moment I got there, and I'm kind of getting ready to ask another question, and the sentence "I gotta go" comes through the spirit box.
Whoa.
And then just dead. There was nothing. There was no K2 hits anymore, nothing through the spirit box. I walked through the whole cemetery, spent about another hour and a half there. Just nothing.
Yeah, his girl hit him up. You got a call.
Oh, yeah, dude. Hey, my mom's not home.
Yeah.
He might have
Hold
had
up.
the runs,
Yep.
considering it was over an hour.
Yeah, right. I mean, they have to defecate, right? I mean, there's ghost shit, right?
I mean, ghost poop, right? That's what. That's pretty fascinating. I mean, you hear that very clearly. It's very distinct.
Oh yeah, it
Doesn't
was the clearest, definitely the clearest thing that came through the spirit box. It was plain as day. I mean, enough to, and it was probably the clearest EVP that I've ever got. And I mean, I just, my eyes got huge. I was just jumping up and down because I was so excited that, I captured something like that. And it was blatant, clear as day. I gotta go. The voice stayed same throughout, and it came over about 6 sweeps. So I know it wasn't radio interference.
And it wasn't your production assistant.
Yeah, dude, I wish I had that kind of money.
Okay. And this was
That's
the most
awesome.
This was the most unique thing you've seen. This is what stands out.
How long ago was that?
Let's see. We went on that vacation at the end of June of this year.
Oh, cool.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so it was really recent, and it was definitely probably other than like my personal experiences with Hatman, and I really wish I would have had stuff on me to like pull my camera up and maybe capture it or something like that, because I'm all about the evidence and the scientific approach to it. I'm the first thing I tried to do when I was getting hits on the K2 meter was debunk it. I made sure I made everybody leave their phone back at the cabin so there wasn't stuff like that, and the other thing that at least for me gave it some credibility is we're in the middle of a cemetery. We're outside. There's no electronics, around it. I have it way away from even the spirit box where maybe the batteries could have made it, the K2 meter go off and stuff like that. And to, just be talking. And one of the other responses that we got that was probably the second clearer response was I was trying to get it to, it was almost like I'd laugh because it was almost like the ghost was getting perturbed with me. Because I think it came through a couple of times and I couldn't quite understand what it was saying. So I wanted it to respond to me on the K2 meter. And so I just said, if you, I was just curious to see if I think I asked the question, like, do you know Loretta Lynn? Or so if you know Loretta Lynn, do the K2 meter, something along those lines. And the K2 meter kind of spiked after that. But the second I pretty much asked that question, it came through the spirit box. I just did.
When you use the K2 meter, like what setting is it on? Like,
There's no setting.
Yeah,
7.
It's just on or off.
Yep. It's just on or off.
So
yeah.
was Hatman the reason you got into investigations?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I had always kind of been into the paranormal, but I more or less looked at it as like a gimmick sort of thing. Like my dad had always watched when I was like 6 years old, and Ghost Hunters was extremely popular, like when they first came on and stuff like that.
How old were you when Ghost Hunters came out?
I guess I don't know exactly what year it came. Do you know what year it came out?
Did you say you were 6 years old? Because you just made
I
me
might
feel
have.
old as fuck.
I might have been. I very well could have
He's
been.
a baby.
Jesus
When did
Christ.
Here, I can Google it.
You have
When
to
did Ghost
go
Hunters
now.
come out?
It started in 2004.
Well, I mean, if you say
Okay,
6
so-
years old, it's definitely not like, oh no, I mean high school.
No,
Right.
well, hey, Tammy, you said 2004?
Yeah.
Okay, if it makes you feel any better, I was not 6 years old.
How old were you?
I was 4 years old.
Oh my God.
You remember the youngest-
I hate you.
I have shoes older than you.
He's the youngest
Right?
person here. You know, it's been a while. I think this actually might be the first time where I'm not the youngest.
I was 23. Oh my God.
I'm
I
not
can't.
saying.
Oh my God, guys! Wait,
Fuck you.
I was over
Okay.
21 also.
You know what's funny is I started investigating before any of these shows.
oh
Really?
my God, guys! I did
Yeah.
it first.
Oh my God.
See,
No.
but like,
You know what?
but I think that's
No.
I think that's cool though.
But Tammy does need her
because,
show.
like,
She does need a show.
yeah, she
Yeah,
does.
I do need my own damn show. These
No,
networks,
you definitely do.
networks are stupid as fuck. It's okay.
But that's so like
Trying to get her
I
to do a
watch
podcast. Sorry,
I
sorry.
grew up watching those shows because my dad was into them and the stuff like that. But then when I saw the Hat Man for the first time, and then I looked back at in my thoughts and stuff, and had recollection of being in elementary school and seeing the shadow people in the school and being told that there was nothing there and stuff like that. And it was pretty much the day after that I just started doing tons of research on shadow people and the Hat Man. Then I started looking into their connections to the paranormal and things like that. And then I did some investigating with a couple people that I knew but didn't really form anything serious. And then it was about a year after that I decided, what, even if it's just me and one other person, I'm going to start a team. I'm going to start doing something.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Cool.
Yeah, and with your experience,
Jesus, I just realized my daughter's graduated from high school the year you were born.
you're still on the age.
I mean, if it puts it in perspective for you, I mean, I'm not even 20 yet.
Yeah, that's my point.
We have to get rid of Justin. Justin's making me feel like an old hag.
Let's keep him because.
Now, Tammy, you might be old, but it doesn't make you a hag.
I could be his mother.
You probably are. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, are you? You said you're a demon. Maybe the
But I
Hat
don't
Man's
look
his
my
dad.
age, so it's okay.
You know.
Huh?
Maybe you're his mom. Maybe the Hat Man's his dad. Maybe Hat Man's just coming around and trying to be like, "Hey, what's up?" Trying to spend time with you. You know.
Little do we know, Tammy's been talking about her comfortability with demons. She's just been possessed this whole time.
Yeah.
No, it's just because it's a calling. That's all.
Just to call him.
And that's
People
why they
are
won't give you a
calling?
show, because you're possessed.
They won't give me a show because I'm real.
Oh.
That's why they won't give me a show.
They're
if you
afraid.
notice, a
You,
lot
you
of these
scare the
paranormal
shit out of
shows
them, Tammy.
Get these
Well, yeah.
people that they could use as their puppets. That's why I don't have a show.
Well,
Tammy walked into the meeting about a new show, sat her a Ouija board down, put some blood all over it, and went, "Let's go."
It started spinning and flying through the air, and then
Right.
nope.
Devil baby
That's
popped
just
out
it
of the
with
board.
me. They-
sorry. Hello.
Everybody went quiet all of a
Without
sudden.
having to finish
Yeah.
the bullshit.
Man.
Yeah, that was.
Okay.
but
Time
what
out.
just happened?
Time out. There's
I
some
think I
weird stuff
figured it
happening.
out, Tammy.
There's some weird stuff happening on
Huh?
JT's line. Look, when JT's talking, there's
I
some
think-
weird stuff, crackling and stuff happening. Anyway.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear that.
shut up,
I hear
Jesse.
like, yeah, stop talking.
I'm just trying to point out what's weird, what's going on. Maybe the Hat Man's in his room right now, trying to cut off his feet.
We're
What's
trying
weird?
to take over the show and not have you talk so much.
I've been pretty quiet this episode.
Hey,
You
Tammy,
have, thank you.
I figured
You
out
stepped out a
what
little
the
bit.
problem with Hollywood and you is that Hollywood's 100% fake.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And when you bring them something real, they don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
true. But like the other night there was this like show. I'm not gonna say what it was, but it was like a live paranormal show, and it was different people from different TV shows who never used certain methods ever. And then all of a sudden they're using all these methods and going kind of darker. And it's just funny because you pitch these ideas to these networks and they turn them down, but then they start using those ideas in shows that are already on TV.
Oh yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name the show, but there was this show called Ghost, and it wasn't exactly unadventurous.
Okay. Yeah. I hear about them. I hear about that unadventurous show here and there.
But
Doing all
I
this stuff.
know that. See, that's the thing. Like, that show doesn't fake shit. So I've been a part of that show. I know that they don't fake it, but
I don't know.
other
didn't.
shows are just stupid.
It seems it depends on the guest we get. You know, some people have their different stories.
You know, I've heard about people not faking before, and it's hard to believe sometimes. No, I don't fake with you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
No, that was totally real.
And sometimes it's better when they do fake it. Wait, sorry.
Wow.
You know,
That's
It's
what
a better
he said.
show. It's a better
if you
show.
even have to talk about it, it just brings up suspicions.
Yeah.
If you even have to ask if it happened, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
Totes.
god.
Totes agreed.
Okay, but anyway, we're totally getting off topic here.
Are we?
I mean, but they fake
Are
it
we though?
but they fake
Why
it to make it an
doesn't it
entertaining
fit?
show. It's the same reason why porn stars fake it because
Hello?
it's for entertainment. You
Hello?
see- I'm still here. You there?
We can hear
Oh,
you, Tammy.
Could you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we heard you.
I couldn't hear you guys. It went all like quiet.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is weird.
No, we heard you. You went all Adele on us.
This is fucking weird, man.
Check the
Whatever.
corners of your room, Tammy.
Hello?
Man, I'm like popping my neck over here. Feeling the pumpkin spice craze still. Man, okay.
Well,
I know
if the Hat Man's here. He's getting quite the view. Go ahead.
we're past. Oh, is he? Turn on the cam. Hey,
I don't believe it.
yeah. Hey, before
I'm not just
we
gonna
go,
take
before
word
we wrap
on
this
that.
up, hey J2, what is your favorite horror movie?
My favorite horror, and you might kill me for this, but the original It.
Oh, yeah.
Not, I mean, these new ones are okay, but the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah, without that CG
I
shit.
Once again, I can say that scared the crap out of my kids when they were in junior high.
Well, the first ever
Until they
horror
got
movie,
to-
first ever horror movie I ever watched was Children of the Corn, and
Yeah.
that'll probably always scare me for the simple fact that it was the first one I saw, and it freaked the shit out of me because I
That
was
movie
extremely
was
little.
good up until the CG part. That movie was good
Yeah.
up until the what the fuck is that supposed to be? And
That's the same for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I couldn't get with it.
But the it effect was better than the stupid Children of the Corn effect. What the hell? I don't know what they were doing with that.
My
shit.
girls were, I don't know, like 11 and 12 or something like that, and they're like, "What the?" They didn't actually swear at the time, but they do now. What they would say now if they were there, they would say like, "What the fuck is up with this ending?"
It's a spider. What?
I went through all of that, and it's just some fucking alien spider shit.
You could stomp it with a shoe, man. Hit it with a newspaper.
Yeah.
Kill that
That
shit.
show or that movie.
They've
No.
been pissed at Stephen King ever since.
Mhm. But all his endings are pretty bad, man. Well, he has some good endings here and there, but
No, not really.
not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
He is one of the worst book enders in all
Yeah,
of
but
history.
Shawshank was a really good movie. And
Oh
it
my
ended
god.
well.
Okay, yeah, yes.
I think it
That
was
was-
a better movie
That's
than a
like
book.
That
one
was
of my
tolerable.
favorite
That was
movies.
tolerable. But
No,
more often than not, Stephen King goes, and I'm just gonna walk away.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, that's true. I mean, that was a good movie, but
I
you
saw
know,
that
you
too.
throw one touchdown pass in 4 seasons, and you're still not a good quarterback.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, there you go. Excellent point.
All right, man.
Unless you play for, I don't know, Miami.
Right.
Oh yeah, then you're pretty damn good.
All right. So, J2, thanks so much for coming on the show and talk about the Hat Man. It was great. Learned so much. This was fun. You guys, ladies, watch it right now. Press the like button, share, subscribe. Sorry, we went down for a little bit. But hey, if you listen to the podcast part of it, it was streaming just fine. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You have a good one.
Good night.